Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony. I told you all, especially Adam. I told you I was going to change that intro. I might have left it last minute. I might have been doing it on the clock at work the last 2 days, but I told you I'd change that intro, and one image stands out, and we're going to talk about that soon. But I'm really excited to talk culture with friends again. I'm really excited to be joined by two Aussie brethrens, and yeah, new season, new roundtable. Thank you, anybody that tunes into the live. And if you are someone that tunes into the live, make sure you comment and let us know who you are and where you are from. Welcome back to the Serie A Roundtable, and welcome back to the partner in crime for this particular show. Adam, it's great to see you again from Melbourne, man.
Man, I've been looking forward to this for the whole off-season, Anthem. We're just talking off air how quickly that went. We blinked and here we are, Matchday 1 of Serie A. So, and it was an interesting one to say the least.
I think it was a good one, a very interesting one. It didn't register to me until I was doing the results for this show that I'm like, wow, we didn't share any spoils over the weekend. There were 10 games and there were 10 winners and 10 losers. My main guy, my brother, Bruno, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in.
Oh, yeah. It feels like yesterday we were congratulating Milan on their victory and we're back again.
That's it, man. How's your mate, our mate, your compadre, Anthony going, Adam, man? He must be still on top of the world.
Yeah, look, the banter's still well and truly alive. It's he can gloat for the next 10 months or so. But look, he's quite ecstatic, and I actually saw him the week we had a function together the week preceding the last round, and then I saw him again the week after. And can you imagine? He was walking on air. So along with all the other Milanisti supporters that I know as well. So my brother-in-law is also a big Milanista, and I've had to put up with a lot. But good on them, like they deserve.
Look, to be fair, as our friend Jono says in the chat, Roma are cooking this off season. We've got 10 people watching us right now. It's fantastic. Thank you so much to Taz as well, coming in from Melbourne, an Inter fan. Fantastic. Make sure you check out Inter Worldwide as well. Coming at you guys today on a dual stream, but I'm hoping that this will be the last of a couple of these dual streams. I'd rather just keep it full blown on Football Worldwide for this Serie A Roundtable from now on. It's fitting that we've got Adam here for the first episode of the season because we're going to start in the Eternal City. We're going to start with the 1-0 away win against Salernitana. Adam, I set my alarm an hour early on that day so I could wake up to watch that game, and I'm happy I did, man. But you guys should have been up 3-0, 4-0 to the good. You did it the hard way. Zaniolo with basically doing everything right but finishing. But my God, he's a clutch. He's a cheat hack, and after 2 ACL surgeries, I'm so impressed with the guy's athleticism, man. How you feeling after your first win of the season, after your first result away from home, and how you feeling about Paulo Dybala? Because, he had a great debut.
Geez, it's just so much to talk about. I don't think we've been on the show since we won the Conference League final against Feyenoord. So as you can see, a lot's happened at Roma since then. With the signing of Dybala, not just Dybala, but bringing in some really experienced heads in Matic and Wijnaldum as well. And who knows, we might end the mercato with Belotti at the end if that comes through. But we'll see what happens this week. Look, Dybala was just it wasn't expected. We did land him, of course, and I guess the question was always how are we going to fit those 4 players into the starting 11, and we saw it against Shakhtar last week in a friendly, and then hit the ground running against Salernitana on the weekend, and we saw in full effect how they're going to work together. So you're right, it could have been 3 or 4 by half time. You hit the post and missed a flurry of chances. I guess the positive is that we're creating those chances, and it's just a matter of us now being able to finish those off. I know I mentioned to you today, and that against the good sides, we might only get 1 or 2 of those chances, so we need to put them away. But I'm growing in confidence, having watched the game twice now on the weekend. I never felt, even at 1-0, I never felt that we were threatened at all. That he really didn't. Salernitana didn't really create much. They had 1 long-range shot from outside the box, which troubled Rui Patricio. But apart from that, I think we certainly had control of the game for the full 90. Zaniolo was an interesting case because I was on edge all summer, all Italian summer, and Jonathan's question there is exactly what I'm going to talk about. And I mean, social media is a great thing, right? And it's really sometimes it's the only sort of gauge we've got into a person's personal life. And Zaniolo on Instagram throughout the summer he actually hadn't posted anything Roma related, even the last few weeks of the season, and even after the win against Feyenoord. So I was sort of on edge thinking, well, he's not posting because he might be leaving, and he just doesn't want to have any Roma association on his social media before he signs somewhere else. And the interesting thing is, over the last 2 weeks, he's just been spamming his Instagram account with Roma-related stuff. So photos of him at training and photos of him during games, and the yellow and red hearts are back after every post. So now that tells me that he's staying, and we'll probably end up renewing him after the mercato closes. I think it was touch and go there for a while, definitely. I think that if Juve had to come forward with the offer that we wanted, then we may be having a different discussion. But they didn't. Thankfully, they didn't. I don't think Tottenham were ever a serious player. They might have come forward with an offer, but I can't see Zaniolo moving away from Italy. He's got a young son. Just a few things that sort of that don't, for me, I can't see him moving abroad, not now anyway. So him himself, he's putting a really hard off season, going by again his social media posts. He's been training by himself. He's leaned up dramatically. Like if you look at his body composition now compared to before those knee injuries, remember he used to look like the Incredible Hulk. Now he's lean as. And if you saw, there was one moment of the game where he broke through 3 defenders and played a through ball to Dybala, who hit the post with that strike. I'm really looking forward to see how he progresses, because this is now his season. There's no more excuses for him. He had last season to get back to full fitness after those 2 horrific injuries, but this is his season, and to do it in a lineup with Pellegrini, Abraham, and Dybala. I can't wait to see where this season takes us. I'm not saying that we're going to win the Scudetto. I'm going to say that categorically straight off the bat. But I am definitely expecting top 4, and I am expecting a good showing in the Europa League as well. So we'll see how we go. We've got a couple of easier games, if you want to say that. We've got Cremonese at home next weekend, which on paper we should definitely win. And we've got Juve coming up after that, so that will be the first test.
Yeah, no, well said, man. I'd just like to throw my 2 cents in there as well. I thought you guys controlled the game really, really well. I thought Chris Smalling was really good at the back, and I expect him to have another good season this season. And I just love seeing Dybala get involved with everything. I like seeing him drop back a little bit deeper, as you can expect from a Mourinho set-up side. We all knew when Dybala signed for Roma, he'd probably see a lot more of the ball closer to the halfway line. And I just loved his confidence every time he picked it up. And I think he's in for a really, really big season. Bruno, really quick comments on Roma.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw the comments made by Mourinho when they said, "Are you considering being favourites for the Scudetto?" And he turned around and said, "Yeah, if there were 18 Scudettos awarded, maybe, because we were 18th on the list of spending this transfer market. But if you look at who they did get, and you think 1-0, if you didn't watch the fixture, 1-0. What's 1-0? Like, you're playing against a team that should be fighting for relegation. But with it, when a team's changed so much in the off-season, and you've got a manager like Mourinho who will utilize these fixtures not to get 3, 4, 5-0 score lines, but to grind out that 1-0 win. And you see him changing. He made some substitutes to see how that flow. And you have Cremonese next. Like, it's the perfect platform to start your season. And every team who finished in the top 8 last year won Matchday 1 this year. So you can see the pressure's already on. No one's dropped the ball yet. And you need to pick up points against these teams. And I just think Roma, it's going to be survival of the fittest, like we spoke about before the podcast, Adam. If you can stay fit this season, you're going to be in for a fighting chance come March next year, May next year. Especially with World Cup. Roma, they've got a fair few Italians in the squad, and as we know, they're not going to be traveling for the World Cup. So you're looking pretty, but it is going to be it's going to be a long season, with 37 games to go, and I really like the way Roma look this season. They're one of the teams who showed some great potential. Like, we're going to talk about it a lot, but I think Roma they had the composure. The Zaniolo news, and like you said, Adam, he's shifted from rumours to he's most probably staying, and you've got that link up with Dybala there. It's just creating a great platform, and the high that Roma have after winning the first Conference League, it's just going to progress, and it's going to be it will be. I'm very eager to see where this Roma team end up at the end of this season, because I feel they've got a lot of roots for the national team come once, World Cup's passed. I think you're going to find a lot of Roma players in the Italian national team, that's for sure.
For sure. Well done, Adam. Well done, Roma. Forza Mourinho from all three of us. Let's move on. Nzola grabbed the winner here completely against the run of play. I was actually lucky enough to go and watch a good 50 minutes of this game, and Empoli were penetrating hard. Mattia Destro could have had a couple of goals. Expect him to have another good season again. He is like he's always been an underrated player for me. You want a fox in the box that can score in any club in Serie A? Go and sign Mattia Destro on a low-level contract, because honestly, man, the guy can play. The guy can get into positions that all strikers and forwards want to get in. His finishing on this day was subpar, and that came back to bite Empoli in the culo. Dragoschi had a weapon of a game for Spezia in goal. Probably expect him to have a weapon of a season, and if they survive relegation even slightly, you can almost expect that it'll be down to some sort of heroics from him. Oh my God, this game, this is great. This is so good, because a certain goalkeeper made a certain error for a certain club during a certain season recently that cost us a certain thing against a certain rival. And this error at the end of this game was just really bad and really sad. And, I'm a bit of a petty human being, so I get a little rude about this stuff. Bruno's a nicer guy, so I'm going to switch to him before I even talk about this issue. But a couple of, housekeeping issues with this game. Vincenzo Italiano wins the match with Fiorentina. Luka Jovic looks like a reborn striker under the guy. Expect him to have a really, really good season. This game, for me, after watching it back, really low-level goalkeeping. Not only from, what's his name, Radu in goal for Cremonese, but for the Fiorentina goalkeeper as well. It was just really, really bad. And
I'm not sure what he was trying to do. I'm not sure if he was trying to. I don't know why he didn't try and punch it.
Both goals, man. Golini was horrible on both goals for Fiorentina. And the only reason he's not walking away out of that game being scathed is because Radu was worse and they got gifted 3 points.
Yeah. But he's with momentum, you're trying to catch the ball with momentum going towards goal. I don't know why he just didn't try and punch it and then end up in the goal yourself. Like he tried to catch it and try and stay on his feet. It was impossible, that momentum.
Yeah.
New season, new team, same Radu. I think that it's one of those things where, he didn't get much first grade attention while playing at Inter. Then when he got on the field and took the field against Bologna and, had that shocker of a game, it lives with you. And as a player who's been a part of and one of Italy's elite clubs for so long, and he finally gets his go and he chokes the way he did, that's in the back of your mind. Doesn't matter who you are. So it really wasn't shocking to see him struggle the way he did. But it was, I think the thing I take away from this fixture was Fiorentina's performance, to say the least. Cremonese, they've been making waves come this off-season. A lot of the promoted teams this year have been signing players. I think I was talking to you, and Fabregas signed with Como in Serie B. Like, they're making moves, but Fiorentina, after losing Vlahovic, everyone sort of thought, they're going to drop off. And Jovic just came in and he was playing phenomenal. Are they Champions League pedigree? No. Europa League, most probably not. But are they going to be causing problems for the top teams throughout the season? I think so. Golini had a shocker of a game, but Fiorentina's not a team like Cremonese where they don't have backups. And, he does that again. I don't see him taking the field. Kumani, I think his name is. the winger for Fiorentina.
Kwame.
He had a fantastic game. But yeah, I think Jovic in the off season was I'm not going to say like for like replacement for Vlahovic, but he definitely showed his worth in that game.
Yeah, Kwame is definitely giving me old school original Quadrado vibes when he was at Fiorentina, playing 95% of his game in the front third and attacking before he moved to Juve. Let's keep on the capital city of the country. Let's go over to Adam for something less exciting for him. Look at his face. He's so thrilled to talk about Lazio's come from behind victory against Bologna and Arnautovic. I've got to ask you, Adam, what was your thoughts on the penalty? The Lazio goalkeeper handling the ball almost a whole meter outside of the box. In my personal time, I've never seen a professional goalkeeper handle the ball that confidently, that far out of the area. So for me, about a stone wall as it gets. Very disappointing, but big up to Immobile and Sarri's men for coming back and getting the win after Zaccagni gave away a penalty to Arnautovic.
Yeah, it was just the weekend for goalkeepers, wasn't it? By the looks of things, especially those two games. I don't know what he was trying to do. Like, he could have let it run just a little bit further and taken the ball in the box. I don't know if he just lost his sense of space, but yeah, it was really weird. And I was also surprised by the actual red card. Like,
yeah, me too.
From my interpretation of the rules, I thought that it needed to be a clear goal scoring opportunity. Now the ball was in the corner of the box. Even if you had to let it run, there's still a chance that whoever latches onto that ball needs to have a shot from an acute angle, and there might have been a player on the line to save it anyway. So I don't know. Yeah, either something's gone amiss, or I'm just not up to date with the current laws because that just didn't make sense to me. But further along, it was evened up later on in the half when one of the Bologna players, his name escapes me now, but he was given his marching orders as well. Arnautovic become a bit of a cult hero in the league, hasn't he? Like his presence on match day is you can't hide it. So expecting some, well, I won't say big things from him this season because it will be dependent on how Bologna progress. But he's certainly the main target man there, it's good to have him in the league because I like his character. But Lazio for me were always going to win this game. I just, having watched it, I just felt that as the game progressed, they were just going to get that winner, and that's exactly what they did. In front of what was I won't say it was a full house because Lazio hardly ever get a full house, but it was maybe because it was the first game of the season and it's still hot, relatively hot in Rome. They're able to attract quite a sizable crowd, the Lazio. And Ciro on the score sheet, as he always does, pops up for the winner. And happy days for the Laziali. It would have been great if that form, and it's the first thing I thought of because of this mid-season break we got coming up. My first thought was why couldn't you do that for the Nazionale? But he did it, and we're not there. And but he'll continue doing that this season for Lazio, no doubt.
It's starting to actually look like a Sarri team for the first time since he's taken them over. And, low key but good signings like Romagnoli come into an existing SMS, Immobile, Pedro, Luis Alberto. They got Marcos Antonio in midfield as well. There's no reason why, without a good run of form, if Zaccagni is not in form, that this Lazio side can't stick with a top four run until the end of the season. That should be the expectation if you are aiming high and aiming to appease the fans. You've got Sarri in there, a manager that has won the league before, let alone finished in the top four. And you've got your world-class two players in Milinkovic-Savic and Immobile and exactly what they do. And an argument can be made for some of those other players that I mentioned as well. Let's move on. Another entertaining fixture, the one that actually is...
Before we move on.
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to make the point first. Lazio debuted two goalkeepers in the first game of the season. But secondly, I think it's going to play a massive part come, Christmas and after World Cup. There was 12 cards issued in that game. Yeah, there was 2 given to the coaches.
Whoa.
But when you look at how the teams are and how competitive this season's going to be, you can't afford to be copying cards so early on in the season in such a magnitude because it's going to get to the point where, you're going to have players missing fixtures and crucial fixtures at that because in a season so tight, there's not going to be an easy fixture. So I think discipline off the board. When we do get to Inter, I'm sure we'll talk about it. But you saw Inzaghi's instant reaction as soon as Brozo got a yellow card. Bang, you're off. We can't afford to lose players. And, Immobile with the silly yellow card come the 91st minute, I think it was. I didn't say what happened, and I'm not sure. But when you're copping a yellow card that late on in the fixture, it can come back to bite you come back end of the season.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Atalanta started their campaign with a 2-0 win. The biggest talking point for me, I saw Chicho Caputo's goal get ruled off after what he scored, what I thought was a completely legitimate goal. One of a couple of in situations over the weekend where referees were just calling for fouls that absolutely did not exist. All it did was disrupt the run of play. And the last time I checked, in the rule book, you can disrupt the run of play. It's called good defense. It's called good pressure, basically. And that's what I thought it was in that situation, but not to be. Atalanta end up getting the 3 points. Good performance behind the scenes by the likes of Pasalic. Zapata wasn't too bad. Also Malinovsky, in my opinion, he'll be their big player this season. Should have earned a transfer about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. Is still there. This will be the guy that keeps Atalanta's bank account booming under the Gasperini machine. Malinovsky is that guy that's going to keep it going. He's fantastic. I've wanted him at Inter for a while. I think he'd be a great pickup for any club if they get him. 3 points for Gasperini, 3 points for Atalanta. I'll go over to the gentlemen if they want to make a comment.
10 yellow cards.
10. There you go.
10 yellow cards in this fixture.
We've seen
look.
Yeah.
I'm slowly adding it up as we go through, but I just think, they pulled. I watched the first half. Again, Caputo should have been a goal. Not 100% sure. As long as the VAR is consistent throughout the whole season, if that's not a goal or anything similar should not be a goal. We saw too many inconsistencies over the last couple of seasons when it's come to VAR, different rulings for different fixtures, for different teams. But Atalanta, they've returned to the winners' circle, but I just don't think it's their year. They weren't convincing for me. I just think a challenge is going to come and they're going to struggle. But yeah, 10 yellow cards. So we're sitting on 22 games.
Cartel, it is live, man. You're in it. Thanks for joining us again on all platforms. You've predicted 1, 2, 3 for Inter, Juve, Milan, and Roma. I was going to ask that question to the boys just before they dip off at the end. This was not good. In fact, this was horrible. And now that I'm talking about this days later, rather than doing my match reaction on Inter Worldwide, but even then it was placid as Inter were very poor for majority of the game after the first 25 minutes. It really should have been 3-4-0 by the time it was the 25th minute, but pretty much similar to the Roma game. We started to take the foot off the brake as we got close to half time. Romelu Lukaku did a great job of scoring, 90 seconds into his return at Inter. But other than that, things were very, very stagnant. And it wasn't until Simone Inzaghi decided to have 5 attackers on at one point. That's right, 5 attackers on at one point. And it ended up being a fullback who scored in at the opposite side of his position at the back post off a set-piece header. But at the end of the day, Inter's, I would say, our athleticism and our physicality is what pushes you over the line in those last 2 or 3 minutes. Lecce looked tired. They looked like a side who had just been promoted, whereas we'd looked like a side who looked very scared that if they did not get the winner, they would be completely reprimanded mentally and physically for it. We got the 3 points, Denzel Dumfries, and I got to hold my hand up and say my boy Adam was on this guy way before I was as an Inter fan. He saw straight away that he was good last season while I was still putting Damian in my first 11 for Inter. But Denzel Dumfries came on, beat a man not twice, thrice, 3 times, had good passes directly into the middle on the floor, had 2 good crosses, had a header that hit the post, and then grabbed the winner at the opposite end of the far post. 3 points to Inter. Big thing for me was Romelu Lukaku running towards the fans and celebrating after we scored the goal. Not he scored the goal, after Denzel Dumfries scored the goal. Since Bruno and I take up residency on the Inter Worldwide platform, I'm going to go over to our friend Adam to talk a little bit about Inter. And I just want to ask you a curious question from friend to friend. What do you think about our away jersey, man?
I don't know if you've seen our third kit that was released online yesterday. I don't think it's been officially released. It was a leaked release of our third shirt. Anything's better than that this season, so I'll reserve any judgment on any other clubs at this stage. Yeah, look, it's different. I mean, like for me, just going off track just a little bit with the traditional jersey, especially the vertical stripes of Juve, Milan, Inter. I don't like them being manipulated too much. I like to see the tradition remain, and I always say that kit manufacturers have away and third jerseys to go a little bit more creative, and I think that's what they've done. So using your last season's kit as an example, your home kit, I thought that was atrocious and a bit disrespectful to tradition. But anyway, conversation for another day. In relation to this game, I thought it was a horrible game from a neutral perspective to watch. I just didn't enjoy it at all. And I ended up switching it off at some point and then fast forwarding it to the end because I knew you'd scored at the end. So I just wanted to see the goal. Obviously, Lecce coming in, new boys in the league, showed vast inexperience in the latter stages of this game to try and keep it to a 1-1 and get a point against the team that might win it in the end. Interested to. And I was going to ask you guys a question about because I've seen a clip from the Inter fans of Lukaku's antics after the winning goal. I guess is he just trying to endear himself again to the fan base that don't love him anymore? Using that word to a bit of an extreme. Is that what he's doing? Is he just trying to get back in the good books, or because there's a part of your fan base that we're happy to get him back, right? And then there's the other half. So there's a bit of a line in the sand where, I don't know what the percentage is. I mean, let's just say it's half your fan base are sort of like, you need to win our affection back. And I think that what he did after that goal is trying to get that back. I don't know what you guys thought of it, but that's the way I saw it.
Yeah, the Kerber came out and said when they signed him, they came out and they said, look, we're glad you're back as a player. We want a good player at our club. But what you did to us broke our trust, broke our hearts, and that's something you're going to have to earn back. And, scoring after 90 seconds is a good step in the right direction. But, yeah, I just think even in a couple of interviews, Lukaku's come out and said, even though I was at Chelsea, my heart was still at Inter. We were still talking every day. I was still wishing the lads good luck every day before the game, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I think he's still trying to butter up the fans, the ones who, we know what the ultras are like when it comes to our respective teams. And we saw everything that had around Icardi when he was still at the club. So I think he's gone the right way about it. But, yeah, it might have been a little bit excessive.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I think that he just knows he made an absolute massive F up, a massive mistake going to a very picky, if I'm allowed to say, borderline racist pocket of London, and knowing straight away as soon as he got there, you're giving up Milan, or a city where you're sort of painted as a king. There's a mural sitting of you on the wall. I reckon halfway through the flight to crappy old London, Adam, this guy's taking a look back and going, wow, that just might have been the worst decision of my life. But he's back here, and in my opinion, he's actually back here for good. I don't believe the rumors that it's only for a 1-year loan. I believe there's a deal already organized in the background to make it a 2-year loan. I know there's a new law in football that says you can't loan longer for a year if a player is on an X amount of salary, and Lukaku definitely precedes that, whatever threshold that is. But football is not exactly a clean-cut sport. So there's definitely dealings going on in the background to make sure that he permanently becomes a member of Inter's squad. But I'm just not too sure how much it'll be left for. Let's move on now to the next fixture. Very good to grab 3 points. Otherwise, Bruno, we would have been the only one out of the big ones that didn't grab the 3 points. We're the only ones that pretty much banked on the last minute. A side that didn't bank on the last minute was a side that was sourced and still in the game. They had a few discrepancies at the back. I dare say Mike Magnan probably had a performance in this game that he wouldn't have had every performance of errors put together last season. It wasn't a great performance by the Milan goalkeeper, but it was a good performance by their other players on the pitch, particularly Andrej Rebic and Brahim Diaz. 3 points for the champions. Low key, going to keep sourcing, going to keep cooking, going to keep getting results this season the way they did last season, and people are still going to doubt them. Even as I'm saying this right now, this Milan side, for some reason, doesn't strike me as overly scary. How can you even say that as an Inter fan that lost the title to this side? But it's what I feel genuinely as a football fan. But full credit to Pioli, the directors, and the continuity that's going on there, because they still look good at him.
They do look good. Even when they went 1-0 down, look, they were always in control of this game, I thought, even at 2-2. They conceded those goals at some weird times. The second minute one, but never felt they were going to lose this game. I mean, it's the first game of the season, so although the majority of this squad, actually probably all of this squad played together last season, there's still that element of new season blues. I mean, just trying to feel your way back into a new season. It's been a long off season. Traveling around to different parts of the globe, playing friendlies. You're now back in your natural habitat, your natural environment, and just it's back to what you know. And that's of course based on last season, Milan winning games, especially at home. And they had a couple of teething moments in that match, but yeah, look, full steam ahead for Milan. And across the board, all the big teams, or all the teams we expect to be up there, won. I've never in doubt this one. And I won't say that they're my favourite for the title because I don't have one yet. So if you ask me for my prediction, I'm not going to give you one. But I'm definitely I've got more confidence today than I did this time last year, and I guess Anthony will be my friend Anthony. I will be happy to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm going to go over to Bruno to talk about them next. I actually don't know their new Belgium signing. Did he play at all in this game?
He came with about 20 to go.
Yeah,
20 to go. He looks like a fine player. Don't know why he didn't start. I mean, maybe it's just because it was the first game of the season, but he looks like a player. Let me say that without scaring anyone. He's definitely he's definitely an upgrade. I know they lost Kessie, but he's a totally different player to him. I don't want to compare the two, but he's technically he's brilliant. I hadn't heard of him before they signed him, so I went onto YouTube and watched his highlights. And although those highlight reels on YouTube, right, we know that they focus in on all the good moments. His ball control, his close ball control, is going to set him apart from a lot of players in Serie A, and I expect him to have a big season. Let's just leave it. Let's just park it there because he still needs to prove it. But let's revisit this conversation in a few weeks after he's started a few games and we've seen him in full flight. But from what I've seen so far, he's definitely one to look out for. Sorry?
He scored a goal against Milan in the group stage of the Champions League last year. So
well, there you go. They've got a habit of doing that, haven't they, Milan? They go and sign players that
they do that. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one in this chat that noticed.
I think that AC Milan performs so well when the spotlight's not on them. And even last season, even when they were leading, the spotlight was on Inter. The spotlight was on Juve. The spotlight was on Napoli crumbling. The spotlight was on Roma in the Conference League. And it didn't really hit them that it was they were going to be champions until, 2 weeks to go. And I think the same comes here. I think they're a fantastic team. And just because you're not statistically have the best players in the world doesn't mean collectively you aren't going to be playing great. And I think they're a team of dreamers and believers. And they were a team of dreamers. Now they're a team of believers. And, they signed a broken Zlatan Ibrahimovic on another year. Why? Because he does such wonders for them in the back of the room. So it'll be good. Just to follow up on the question earlier, 55 cards handed out throughout match day one.
Wow, that's huge.
Yellows and reds. So
that's a lot.
Discipline
of cards, man.
was out the window.
Yeah.
There's actually 5 cards a game.
Speaking of numbers, there's 14 people with us right now, split between Inter and Football Worldwide. We've had a spike in subscribers on Inter Worldwide recently. So if you're someone who's watching on that platform, I need to ask you extremely kindly, please migrate and make your way over to the Football Worldwide platform and subscribe to us there as we continue to grow. Let's go over to Juve before Adam heads off, because I wanted to ask his opinion on this. Good start for Di Maria, great goal, miss kick. May I just say that, if I'm allowed to? It was a miss kick, but it was a classy miss kick, like a classy player like Di Maria could pull off. Good game for Vlahovic, despite missing a couple of early chances. 3 very good points for the old lady, because they needed to convince their fans. Other than that, not much to say, although Di Maria did walk off limping. I'm sure the Juventini will still be in high spirits, Adam, after getting a win on match day 1.
Yeah, look, that banner in the crowd there really irks me because it's in Roman dialect. It had a banner in the middle there. Yeah, I saw that on one of the images when I was flicking through some Serie A photos, and yeah, I don't know why you've used it here, but it does irk me. And so,
sorry, man, I can tell it's irking you. I'm going to move on so you can construct a sentence in peace.
Go to the next one. Look, first thing I'll say is that anyone who had any doubts about Di Maria coming into this season, who you guys would have read it too. Like, there was many comments saying he's washed, he's not going to be able to cope. He's coming from a weak league in France. He's at that age. He's not even going to probably won't do anything at the World Cup either. If you needed any proof whether this guy is still up to the mark and able to play at this level, you just needed to watch that game against Sassuolo. Because he was unbelievable up and down that flank. Poses a danger every time he's got the ball at his feet. And draws players to him, opens up space in behind. And he and Vlahovic are going to have a field day this season, I think, which is not great for the rest of us, but it is what it is. It's good to have. It is good to have someone like him in the league, regardless of where he's playing. So, and Vlahovic hit the ground running as well. 2 goals, sets him up for the next match day in the season. What I will say though is a question for the Juventini. So I was hoping that we could get one of our Juventini on today, because the question I had was, I remember Allegri made a comment last season about how Bonucci will never wear the captain's armband at Juve again after he left and came back. And lo and behold, his first match day of the season, he's wearing the armband. So I don't know what's happened there. If he's just conceded and there's really no one else to take the lead.
Exactly.
It just shows that there's a little bit of inexperience in that squad now. If they do have, or I'm sure they will, because everyone does, but they do cop a couple of injuries to some key players, how they cope. So their depth will be tested. A depth that they've certainly had over the years that's no longer there. So we'll see how that transpires as the season progresses.
Bro, Bonucci cannot lead a straight line through a door. That guy is a bum. He's a good ball-carrying defender, and at the end of the day, it'll be sheer talent and athleticism that gets Juve over the line this season. It'll have absolutely nothing to do with that guy wearing the letter C on his forearm. Juve and Bruno, let's have a little chat about that. And actually, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to see our friend Adam off. It was really, really good that you came in for us today, man, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of you this season. I'm sure you're excited, bro. Dai Roma.
Yeah, can't wait, boys. Looking forward to getting the band back together, all the crew for the next couple of match days. So we'll work out a time when we're all online, and let's get them all back together and have a good chat and get to you more cracking on about Napoli.
100%, man. 100%. Thanks for coming by,
boys.
bro. We'll see you soon. Ciao.
Ciao, Forza Roma. Bye.
Oh,
Bruno,
he had to get his 2 cents in there, didn't he?
Impressive on match day 1, getting those 3 points, man. What are you saying?
Yeah. Look, very impressive getting the 3 points. And I think the draw has favored them as well. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a lucky thing. I'm not going to make, comments in that respect. But the draw has favored a fair few teams this season, in the sense of the teams who have changed and rebuilt a lot. They really needed the 3 points off the bat, and they really looked good. But everyone knows I'm an Inter fan, but watching Bremer this morning, wow, he was just phenomenal. If he had been there last season, he'd be wearing that captain's armband, that's for sure. But look, are they title contenders? I don't know. And I've said this to everyone. Whoever asks me predictions, I say, look, give me 5 match days. Give me 5 match days, and I'll be able to tell you. Are they contenders? I think they'd be in the Champions League positions, but I don't know if they'll be close enough. I don't know if they've done enough to bridge the gap from last season. But Di Maria, fantastic up front. Vlahovic, the 2 goals. It's Juve. You
That's
can
it, man.
never
And
never
because of that,
write off the old lady. And I think the biggest part of Juve's season will come December when the World Cup's on, November, December. If they can get through that fairly unscathed, they'll be looking good come January.
yeah. Look, for me, as you said, they're Juve, so they haven't bridged the gap. For me, they are the gap. You don't have a mercato like Di Maria, Pogba, Vlahovic in his first full season. Let's face it, Federico Chiesa is going to end up coming back eventually. They're not done yet. They've got Kostic, and if they get Depay and Paredes as well for depth, we are going to be looking. Well, yeah, I said Pogba. Yeah, like we are looking at the strongest squad on paper almost 2 times over. So for me, and I know our friend Uncle Sharma said this a lot on his channel, and I want to echo it. The pressure should be and is on Allegri and Juve. They have to win this league. With this squad and the 9.5 million a season they're paying Allegri, anything less than a Scudetto should be considered a failure. And unless they're challenging for that title up until match day 35, 6, 7, 8, there's no excuses for me, man. Like the management, the upper management and the ownership have treated Allegri extremely well this mercato. It's a Christmas, it's an Easter, and a birthday all wrapped into one.
Is this mercato one for a Scudetto, or is this mercato one for a nice, very deep Champions League run?
I think it's both. Like that's what I was thinking today as I was at work. I'm walking around. I'm like, you know what? All I've said in my head is that these guys will challenge for the league. I reckon they're looking to make a deeper run in the Champions League as well.
I just think the pedigree of all the players here. You've got Di Maria, who he's come close with PSG, and Pogba, who wants to show everyone at United that he was worth what they paid him initially.
Philip Kostic just won the Europa League as well, so
yeah,
that's the second best European trophy.
You've got all of that, and I just feel, all right, they've done the Scudetto, and it got to the point where they'd win a Scudetto and their fans wouldn't really be celebrating because it was just a normal week for them, a normal year for them. It was expected. But after getting knocked out by Villarreal last season and struggling, I think in that European competition that's eluded them for so long, I feel that they really need to focus on that. And I wouldn't blame them if they turned around and just focused on the Champions League come match weeks and rest their Di Marias, rest their Paul Pogbas, because at the end of the day, they're getting older. Di Maria's 34, I believe.
Limped off today. It looks like he tried too hard.
Yeah, and they've done really well this transfer market. As an Inter fan, very jealous of the luxuries and the capabilities they've got, because you know what, Juventus at the end of the day, they lure players. But I don't know if you saw the article in the Gazzetta dello Sport. Apparently Juventus, Inter and AC Milan all rejected an offer for Ronaldo to come to their clubs. So it just shows the level that these clubs are playing at the moment.
No one's going to take a 38-year-old on those wages anymore, man. It's ridiculous. There's 18 people here right now watching. If you are watching on the Inter Worldwide platform, I encourage you and demand that you come over to the Football Worldwide platform, like and subscribe. Let's fly through these remaining 2 fixtures, 2 or 3. I forget how many we've done so far. New boys on the block. Monza played well, but were no match for a Juric-infused Torino. Sanabria grabbed a fantastic goal to seal the points here. However, they didn't play too bad, Monza. I expect, this new cash-injected juggernaut of of this side to pretty much, I don't know if they're going to survive this season, Bruno, but they've got the squad to survive and they've got the ownership to survive. So, if you can survive this one season in Serie A, they'll feel really comfortable of putting together a streak of a few years up in the top
look,
division.
I think Monza, they've done well, and they're definitely going to be problems. But like you said, it is tough to survive. And I think one of the bigger factors for them this season is a lot of last year's teams that were promoted. The ones that did survive are probably on the weaker end compared to Monza. Monza may be a bit higher than them. So you don't need to win many games to survive. You just need to wrap up those points against, the bottom teams and take points off them and award them to yourself. But they did do really well. They got a couple of Inter players as well in Sensi and Ranocchia. So, and they're not mucking around. So yeah, like you said, if they don't survive this season, I don't think we won't be waiting too long to see them back up in the Serie A.
There's 20 people now on Football Worldwide and Interworldwide. How'd that happen? Oh, it's 5:08, which means it's like 8:08 in Europe. So some people have just woken up and clicked our video, which is really nice. Make sure you rewind it a good 45 minutes. Anyone in the UK, Italy, and those other countries above. Great goal from Sanabria as well. Was really, really good. Oh man, do I even give it a go to pronounce this guy's last name on air right now? I just started to learn it properly today. I remember last season. Now I've got this name wrapped up very well. Sombongisa. I was calling him Anguissa for about 34 match days. So I'm actually going to not say this guy's name, although he played absolutely fantastic. And then you've got the likes of
Hilia or something like that.
There you go, man. There you go. I'll get to it soon. But speaking of, Sombongisa was so good today. I knew it watching him last season, speaking with Zil Amo and just watching him like this guy from Fulham. That's your bargain of the decade in terms of your club right there. Osimhen, really, really good. They just looked quicker without Insigne and Mertens. They just looked quicker. Zielinski and Lobotka scored two really classy goals on the break as well. They were troubled at the back, and that's where Napoli are going to struggle this season. Koulibaly, anybody that watches Serie A has been putting Koulibaly as a top 3 centre-back in the world for the last 10 years. It irks me when the Premier League fans come up and go, oh, this Koulibaly is world-class. Yeah, cuz, like we haven't been saying that for a decade, but all of you guys with your Harry Maguire tinted goggles on don't know what's going on. We all saw that goal he scored for Chelsea. That guy has been, bar none, the best centre-back besides Giorgio Chiellini, alongside Chiellini for the last decade. And that absence, Bruno, no matter who you replace it with, is going to be missed. They concede 2 goals. Henry, their other new signing, who is going to be a great signing for them as well, scored a goal. But full credit to the 5 goal scorers away from home for Napoli.
And look, it was a statement game for them. They lost Insigne, they lost Mertens, they lost Koulibaly, and they had to come out and do something. And yeah, this comment here, they're a great team, but the person driving them, I don't know if he's good enough to get them there in the end.
This has to be Spalletti's best looking squad ever in Serie A. Or would you argue and say he's had better squads?
Spalletti starts off like a bat out of hell. He dies off even quicker. So, look, I feel this squad here has great potential. You know, who they're playing at the end of the day, I want to see, in 5 match days where they're sitting. 5 match days, 15 points, anything less than 10, and you're looking at, okay, there's issues here. But in saying that, there are rumors of Ndombele coming from Tottenham across
and Raspadori or Simeone, one of those two.
Yes, and they're keeping an eye on Belotti as well. He's meant to be going to Roma, but they're willing to swoop in. But look, this game was needed for Napoli. They had to make a statement. A lot of the fans were upset.
Yeah,
not really with Insigne because they knew he was leaving a long time ago, but Mertens not being renewed, and him leaving on a free. Koulibaly heading to London and playing for Chelsea. They needed a statement, and this is what that was. It doesn't matter if you concede 2 goals if you're scoring 5.
Yeah, exactly right, man. Well said. Napoli get the points as well as most other big sides do. I'm just really excited for this season. That's all we've got to cover today. We've been going for almost 50 minutes. There's still 15 people in the house. Make sure you're liking and subscribing. It's gonna be a big year for Serie A. I honestly feel like this could be one of those seasons where it's just a jackal of a season, and anybody, it's like so up for grabs, Bruno, man. Like, there are one of 6 teams where you just focus hard. As you said, stay fit, stay consistent. Continuity is going to be very important. It's up for grabs, man. This Scudetto, the top 4 Europa League spots, a place in the league again next season. Like, if you're a club like Monza, Cremonese, Spezia, Empoli, you must be looking at this table and going, we stand a real chance of achieving our goals. We can survive. We can make it up the table. Goals are achievable this season, bro. Serie A is competitive, maybe not for the right reasons, but it's still competitive.
Yeah, look, you can't be making slip ups. Inter Radu last season, we saw how critical that was, but you can't be dropping points to, if you want to be up there at the top, you need to beat everyone. Definitely Inter struggling against newly promoted Lecce isn't good signs, but they got the 3 points. Doesn't matter how you get the job done, as long as the job does get done. When it gets to the back end of the season, teams like Salernitana fighting for relegation, you need to be putting them away. And, Europe is going to be decided by goal difference. I don't think it's going to be decided by points. I think, there'll be some positions decided by goal difference. That's how close some of these teams are.
Are they deciding it on goal difference or head-to-head this season for positions? Or do they only decide the Scudetto on head-to-head? I actually read they're introducing the playoff again. Was that for this season or next season?
I have no idea.
They
change everything all the time. It's getting more and more confusing. I just found out that the next World Cup's got more teams in there. So, I don't know. I don't know what's happening, but look, head-to-head goal difference, whatever the case may be, there will be positions. But I do think the teams with the continuity that you mentioned earlier, they're the ones that are gonna break away. And when you break away, no one's catching you.
That's it.
Inzaghi will need to show if he's a true manager. Spalletti will need to show he's over choking. Pioli needs to show, he's not a one-trick pony. Allegri, he's got to
show he's not washed, because if that squad, if that team underperforms under him, he is gone, bro. Agnelli is going to kick him in the cooler for a second time.
Look, I think out of the top 6, 7, the only coach that isn't going to be criticized this season is Mourinho, and that's because he brought home silverware last season in the form of a European trophy. Even Sarri, very underwhelming last year. He needs to. The pressure's on the coaches, and I don't think any team can afford to sack a coach. That's the issue. So there will be. It's going to be a very interesting season, and you'll find that the January transfer window will be one of the most pivotal transfer windows in Serie A history. There will be signings that will happen that will change everything. And the fact that Italy's not in it, like mentioned earlier, will be good for teams that are very Italian-based, like the likes of Sassuolo and the likes of Roma, Inter to an extent. But the World Cup's going to make or break teams, and it's less than halfway into the season. I think it's 15 games in, and our 16th game, our 15th game's played at the end of October, start of November. Our 16th game is played at the start of January. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be fun.
Very good. Very, very good. Bruno, thank you so much for joining us on the first of many roundtables for this season, bro.
Pleasure is always mine, mate. Pleasure's always mine. And guys, if you haven't already, we'll chuck the link up on our description. Serie A Fantasy Football. We didn't mention it. We started this week. It's like your fantasy Premier League team, except you can do it with the Serie A fantasy team. And it is fun. Great banter. I'm gonna go a bit off the rails here and say there may be a prize for first place if we can get into it. But look, we've got 131 members in Serie A Fantasy worldwide. It's going to be fun.
I didn't realize that until we just checked it now. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
That's great.
Look, we got there's your league code. Just log on to Serie A Fantasy, chuck in the league code, join it up. You get €100 to build your team, and Anthony's sitting in 92nd place, man.
That's all right. The discrepancy between first and 92nd isn't that many points. The only thing I regret is not putting Lukaku and Vlahovic. I'm starting to think that Abraham and Osimhen is cutting it short this season.
Hey, Osimhen did well.
He did do very well. How did Leao only get 3 points? That's a surprise. No, I told you off camera, man. Bremer, I'm telling you, he's going to have a monster season, and the only silver lining to that will be using him in the fantasy team. Yeah. Yeah, Biragi will get more points. All he needs to do is score 1 free kick, and that one turns into a 10.
Vecino got me a point this week, so that was good.
This Vecino merchant still going, man. All right, guys, thank you so much if you did join us for Serie A Roundtable today. First of many episodes from Bruno and I. Ciao ragazzi, take care.